2023 is the beginning of a new era, at least for Capcom fans like myself. Resident Evil 4 Remake is a really phenomenal action game. I'd even go as far as to say it's one of the best games I've ever played, hands down. But no matter how good a game may be, every game is incomplete in some form or another. Games these days are never finished. They're constantly evolving works of art going through dozens of permutations every single day. How fitting is it that Resident Evil, a game about viruses that can change the course of evolution, become a victim of its own virus that literally evolved these games beyond what the developers even imagined? I'm talking about mods. Okay, obviously, I'm hyping these up quite a lot. Let's shoot straight. Why am I so excited about Capcom mods? I mean, haven't people been swapping models since Resident Evil 2? I'm excited because this is beyond just model swapping. I just beat Resident Evil 4 Remake. Please don't laugh at me. And I started a second playthrough of the game, but with one key difference. I was going to install all the mods I wanted to my heart's content. Now, at first I thought I would just be swapping models and animations, but that's where the idea for this video came to be. I went on to Nexus Mods, and the things I saw were genuinely unreal. People like alphaZomega were adding entire new mechanics to the game. Shit just got real, my guy. Allow me to introduce you to some of my most favorite mods I've ever used in an RE Engine game. Dodge rolling and sprint adds in exactly as it says on the tin. By double tapping crouch while holding a direction, you can perform a roll at any moment you desire. This roll has invincibility frames during the initial dive, but you're vulnerable during the rest of the animation. That's right, they put the fucking Dark Souls roll into Resident Evil 4, and you would be amazed just how well this works in the existing game. It adds an entire option to enemy encounters that just weren't there before, and it's especially helpful during fights like the final duel with Krauser. You're supposed to run towards the right and towards the camera when he does this lunge with his right arm, but in the heat of the moment, I tend to forget that I can do that. Don't laugh at me, I'm terrible at video games, okay? Thanks to this mod, I can spice up the Krauser battle quite a lot in a way that's still fair and balanced. But it doesn't even stop there. There's the rest of the game too. There's a counterattack mechanic built in where you get a guaranteed melee opportunity, or you can get bullet time if you perform the roll right before an attack hits you. So no longer do you need a well-placed shot for a counterattack opportunity. You can save up ammo for more dangerous enemies and take out the Ganados with just your kicks and your knives. Then there's the entire other half of the mod, sprinting. By holding down the already existing run button, you can activate a new sprint ability. This new sprint is much faster than the regular run button you get in this game, but it comes at a cost. It gets integrated into the game with a new dedicated stamina system. The UI is very basic, but it's also the first of its kind. This just wasn't a thing before when it came to Resident Evil modding. This feature also works exactly like it does in FromSoft games. Outside of combat, you can sprint as long as you like, but when there are enemies to fight, you have a limited supply of stamina to work with. So you can choose between the dodge roll, which also consumes stamina to give yourself brief invincibility, or you can sprint to build space between you and your enemies. This mod uses mechanics already in the game to add even more depth to itself. It genuinely feels like something Capcom could have theoretically designed themselves. This is straight up making the game more fun while introducing more emergent gameplay. And I'm not even done yet. The same creator created a mod where you can kick down doors just like the original Resident Evil 4. And once again, they implemented ways that it integrates itself into the gameplay too. If you kick down a door with an enemy right behind it, it knocks the enemy down and gives you an easy takedown opportunity. You can also use this kick action at any time, meaning you can use this in the middle of combat to push enemies away. What's even more amazing about these mods is they employ entirely custom handmade animations, and they're actually pretty good considering the limitations that alphaZomega is working with. If you want to make the game a little harder, you can use a mod called Relentless Enemies that gives enemies permission to attack whenever they want. The enemies in Resident Evil 4 Remake will usually take turns to attack you one at a time, so that fighting crowds of Ganados isn't unfair. But when you have the dodge roll mod, this isn't much of an issue. This mod was designed to work in tandem with that and many other mods to better balance the game for modded playthroughs like mine. And alphaZomega isn't the only genius out there doing crazy things with the game. Mr. Boobie Buyer, amazing name, has several mods to tweak how the game works on a mechanical level. You can directly customize the stats and properties of every gun in the game. You can put laser sights on on every weapon. You can change the input window for perfect parries. I mean, you can change the game to fire bullets from the muzzle of a gun instead of from the camera, which is something I didn't even realize the game did. Mr. Boobie Buyer even has their own mods similar to the sprinting and iframes feature from the dodge, roll, and sprint mod. Mr. Boobie's mods just slightly increase the speed of the already existing run button in the game, and they have another mod that adds iframes to basic actions like parries, takedowns, melee animations, etc, etc. It actually adds iframes to actions I didn't even know lacked iframes. These mods just existing are teaching me cool things about the game. And Mr. Boobie even has their own weapon rebalance mod that aims to make every weapon equally viable at any point in the game. Dynamic weapon profiles implements one-shot headshot kills and extra dismemberment, and a variety of other features that you can add to the game. And then you can completely switch the ammo types of certain guns, so the full auto CQBR can use submachine gun ammo instead of the very sparse rifle ammo. And if you really want to cheat, you can set magnums to use regular handgun ammo. You can turn off reticles, which will pair nicely with your lasers on all your guns, and you can even customize the stagger to resemble that of the original Resident Evil 4. The idea here is this mod allows you to customize all aspects of the shooting experience exactly how you want it. There's another mod that allows you to customize how many of each item in the game you can hold. You can bring that RPG hoarding mentality to Resident Evil. Isn't that so great? Do you want to play Cursed Resident Evil 4? Well, believe it or not, there's a first-person mod that I've actually used in some of my videos before, and it works surprisingly well given how jank it is. Seriously, people are making the craziest shit for these games, and I hope you can see where I'm getting at. A lot of the time when it came to RE Engine mods of the past, you never got too much utility out of them. There was the occasional gems like the DMC5 co-op and PvP mods and Prey Dogs VR mods, but for the most part, RE Engine mods were delegated to model swaps, sound replacers, and the occasional reshade preset, and half of the time, they were memes. The other half of the time, they were nude mods. That's right, I'm onto you, you horny bastards. They didn't add anything beyond novelty to these amazing games. While that's totally fine, the games I mod the most are the ones that let me take it beyond that. When I'm modding games on PC, it's usually Bethesda games. Games that are flexible enough to let you change just about anything. I've modded my Fallout games, my CD Projekt games, my Subnautica, my Valheim, my Elden Ring. That was inconvenient. Wasn't expecting my friend to die so quickly.
Oh, there's a side of Grace died down there.
Yeah. Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god.
After you.
Oh my fucking god.
Light the Grace.
No. Oh,
So close.
But I have always wished for the day that I could mod my Resident Evil or my DMC the same way. Which brings us back to why I was so excited at the beginning of the video. My dream might be coming true and much sooner than I would have ever expected. It's only been half a decade and already we are changing these games massively. In the past, more elaborate RE Engine mods needed to alter the game's memory as it was running, meaning that if you wanted to make any semblance of a competent mod, you had to reverse engineer the entire game through little bits and pieces of numbers. Numbers that you have literally zero idea what they do until you start messing with them. Or you had to write and inject a Lua script into the game and just hope everything goes fine. And this is actually how many of the mods I've showcased today were made. What impresses me the most is just how fast they were made. And part of this is due to Capcom frequently reusing assets and code from previous Resident Evil games, making it safe to assume that if a chunk of memory controls something in one game, it'll control that part of the next game as well. There's also members of the community like Prey Dog and alphaZomega, who I've already mentioned in this video, who have been crafting dedicated modding tools for RE Engine games since Resident Evil 2 Remake, and these tools have only gotten more and more advanced as time goes on. There's also the fact that the RE Engine behaves a lot like the Unity game engine. Fun fact, Resident Evil 7 was originally intended to be developed in Unity, and when Capcom decided to make their own engine instead, they simply designed it to be similar to Unity. That way all of the people who are already working on the game didn't have to make such a massive transition. So odds are if you already have a lot of familiarity with the Unity game engine, you might already know how the RE engine works by complete coincidence. Looking at all of these factors, I probably shouldn't be surprised that Capcom mods are getting this out of hand. It's the perfect storm for creating a modding community. There might even come a day where once Street Fighter 6 reaches the end of its life, we'll have people modding entire new characters into the goddamn game, just like they're doing with Marvel 3. And while Capcom is currently trying to cock block these amazing mods, I highly doubt they'll be successful. I personally think that Capcom should be very happy that they've cultivated a modding community like this, because there are many companies out there that wish they had an entire modding industry like Bethesda does. I hope you all are excited for what's in store, because Resident Evil 4 Remake could very much become the next Skyrim if it's given enough time. All of that being said, I'm Rainin Noodles, and I make fun video essays all about Capcom. Do you like Capcom content? Then why don't you consider becoming a followy? What's a followy? It's like a groupie following a rock star, except without the sex and the drugs. It's still fun, I promise. You can become a followy by helping out Jill Valentine right there with the subscribe button. The next time I talk about Capcom mods, she'll be sure to tell you. And hey, if you want a Discord server to check out, maybe give mine a shot. I recently opened one, and we have very few rules, and it's extremely laid back. It's a very chill place to be. All of that being said, my ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, I hope you have an amazing one. Peace.